My name is Flickpick Decimus Meridius, father to a dead son, husband to a dead wife, and I will have my vengeance in this live stream or the next. Hey there, guys! Happy Halloween! Thanks for joining me once again. This is it. Don't get scared now. And I will wear this Maximus Decimus Meridius helmet until I either stop breathing, which is happening right now, or I collapse over. Either way, how are you guys doing? Thank you so much for joining me. And actually, I'm going to take it off now. I just wanted to be a little more festive. It smells like the inside of like a rusty soda can or something. Ugh. Does not smell good. So anyway, how are you guys doing? Thank you so much for joining me once again. Yeah, trick or treat. Or should I say flick or treat? Either way, I hope you guys have some candy and some questions ready to go. And yeah, thanks for joining me, guys. Don't get scared now. Okay, let's just dive into it already. We already have a few super chats waiting to go. And I hope you guys enjoy tonight's GIF. It's a very special Halloween-themed GIF of Buffalo Bill, and we'll talk more about that extensively a little bit later. But yeah, let's just dive into it right now. I'm ready to go. I'm hyped up on Twix and Twizzlers and Skittles. All right. The first one comes from Elliot Cecil. He says, "Hey, John, can you say this in your Patrick Bateman impression voice?" I'll try. "Hamilton, have a holly jolly Christmas, and don't use alcohol because alcohol dries out your skin." So there you go. Hope you enjoyed it. Thanks for the question, man. Thomas Jones says, "Massive fan of your channel. How would you rank these movies? The Conjuring 1 and 2, Insidious, Halloween 78, Nightmare on Elm Street, The Omen, and Poltergeist." That is quite the lineup of horror films you have right there. Let me make sure this audio is working good. Okay, it is. All right. By the way, check out the t-shirt, Zombies Ate My Neighbors. Why has Netflix not acquired the rights to this video game to make a great series out of it? It could be phenomenal, but either way. All right, let me try to rank these horror films. Okay, what do we have here? We have, well, I would say I really enjoyed the first Conjuring film and the first Insidious film. I think the first Insidious film is by far more terrifying. The first Insidious kind of scared me the first time I watched it. I'm not gonna lie. It was everything I wanted. Red face and the shadows lurking above that boy's bed was scary shit. But as far as like a film goes, an old time film, I'm gonna go with Halloween 78, the first one. Then I'm gonna go with Nightmare on Elm Street 84, which terrified the shit out of me as a kid. I still can't watch that movie alone in a basement. And then I'm gonna go with, I wasn't ever a huge fan of The Omen. I think Poltergeist from a technical standpoint is great. Mommy, I'm stuck in the light bulb. I actually think Poltergeist 2 is slightly more scary, just in my opinion. I like the creepy guy who comes to the screen door. Let me in. So yeah, I'd go with those, and then I'd follow it up with the first Insidious, which is by far better than the second one, and then the Conjuring 1. Those are all good picks, though, honestly. But I would say in the last, 10 years, I would say Insidious and The Conjuring, though. Definitely are two of the better horror films that have come out by far. All right, the next one comes from Billy M. "Halloween, when Flick throws unwrapped candy at his trapped, blindfolded basement victims and makes them guess what candy hit them. Flick or treat?" Well, most people would take that... I'll take it as a compliment. I'll keep it real with you. I'll take that as a compliment. So thank you for that. "It puts the candy corn in the basket. It puts the candy corn in the basket. It puts the fucking candy corn in the basket." Oh, let's go to the next one here. All right. James, we're 5 minutes in, already doing Buffalo Bill impressions. James Doshier says, "Hey, John, hope you have a great Halloween. I'll be watching It's a Great Pumpkin, Charlie Brown." I have not watched that since I was a child. I always enjoyed it. And by the way, quick thanks to all 177 of you beautiful, terrifying people here. Thank you so much for joining me on All Hallows Eve. And I think tonight, because I have not watched this in probably 5 or 6 years, I think I'm gonna go back and rewatch the first Scream. The sequels to these movies are completely awful, but the first one was good. So I might watch that tonight. I'm not quite sure, because I've already went through all my norm. I watched 78 Halloween. I watched Hocus Pocus. And by the way, speaking of Hocus Pocus, for the opening of the live stream tonight on the waiting screen or starting soon screen, I was actually gonna have the song from Hocus Pocus. Come, little children, I will take thee away into a land of enchantment. The most terrifying song I've ever heard, especially if you're driving through a school zone listening to it very loud with the windows down. Don't do that. But yeah, copyright kind of took that creativity away. But either way, all right, let's keep going. Yeah, but enjoy the great Pumpkin Charlie Brown, man. Jack Lame says, Michael Fassbender needs to play 007 ASAP. I think a decade ago, that would have been a good choice. For me, I think I'm leaning towards someone like Henry Cavill, or maybe if you want to do like more of a slightly edgier sort of James Bond, Tom Hardy. But I think Henry Cavill would be the safe bet, especially if you had like a James Bond set in the 1960s, or what I said in the last live show for like 5 minutes. I like to see a James Bond set in the early 1980s, which I just like that time period, and I think that would be a lot of fun. Jazuzzi says, thoughts on Rennie Harlan, John, greetings from Florida. Well, hey, how's it going down in Florida? Rennie Harlan, what's new with that? See, Rennie Harlan. What about Rennie Harlan? He's a Finnish film director, producer. Devil's Pass. I'm not too familiar. Let's see. I'm looking at his filmography right now. Oh, he directed Cutthroat Island. Okay. Or no, is he? Or did he star in it? Yeah, he's the director of Cutthroat Island. Okay. Directed 12 Rounds. He directed kind of a lot of mediocre movies in the mid-2000s. I don't know. I'm not that familiar with him. Oh, he directed Exorcist, The Beginning, Mindhunters from 2004, which was one of the worst movies I've ever seen. And he directed Driven. He's directed a lot of box office bombs, man. But he did direct Deep Blue Sea, and for that, I will congratulate him. For that, I will honor him. Yeah. Yeah, so he's directed some good movies, but a lot of bad ones, too. The next one comes from Brooks Shannon, says, who is the most underrated horror icon? Chucky, Leatherface. Underrated? I know some people might say, like, Ash from Evil Dead or something, but for me, I think most of the horror icons get the credit they deserve. I mean, you know what? Let's just tie this into Buffalo Bill, because I need to get to this. Buffalo Bill, to me, is far more terrifying than Michael Myers, Freddy Krueger, Chucky, Leatherface, and I'm going to tell you why. People like Buffalo Bill exist. It could be your next door neighbor. If you know anyone that has, all you need is a basement and some willpower and a well in your basement, and you can be Buffalo Bill. I assure you. I just feel like there's a lot of weird people I've encountered in life. And I'm just like, I know deep down they have someone tied up in their basement. I just know it. So the thing that's most terrifying about Buffalo Bill to me is people like that exist. There's probably a Buffalo Bill in every neighborhood across America right now. That's why Buffalo Bill, I think, is an underrated horror icon and completely terrifying. Like, at least Freddy Krueger is just going to kill you in your dream. It's done and over. Leatherface is going to chop you in half with a chainsaw and wear your face as a mask. Yes, he is. But Buffalo Bill, no. That's too easy. What Buffalo Bill is going to do is he's going to first drug you. Yo, can you help me put this couch in the back of my van? And then what he's going to do is put you in his well for multiple days, starving you. Then he's going to kill you. Then he's going to cut off your skin and make a lady dress out of it. That is terrifying. Let's go to the next question. Luke O'Neill says, hey, from the UK, favorite British horror movie. Wasn't The Omen's, isn't The Omen a UK horror film? But how technical are we getting? Are we talking about a UK a movie filmed in the UK? Because there's a lot of movies filmed in the UK. I mean, Batman Begins had filming locations in the UK. So I'm trying to think of a straight up UK horror film. The Omen, right? That was shot in the UK, right? I could be wrong, but if I am, do not correct me. Night King 01 says, hey, John, happy Halloween. I suggest you watch 7 Dracula with Gary Oldman. and Horror of Dracula with Christopher Lee. I've seen the Gary Oldman Dracula movie. Not one of my favorites by far. I like the Nosferatu original vampire type movies, and something about them being like shot in black and white and just the way they look. I feel like a modern day version of that, if you could make it well crafted and you could get a great director who knows how to direct horror, like a modern day Nosferatu film could be completely terrifying if you just handled it right. But anyway, yeah, I have seen the Gary Oldman one though. And thank you for the question. King Fu Hot Dog, I don't know why I like that name more than I probably should. Happy Halloween, John. Are you having a pizza while watching your horror films? Can you film that for your channel? Monster Squad for me. Oh, Monster Squad's phenomenal, man. If you want good, cheesy 80s horror that just is, it's not unsettling where you can just sort of enjoy it and watch it and not be completely grossed out. Because my thing with horror films is sometimes like, yeah, I want to watch like Nightmare on Elm Street, but like I got to be in the right mood to do it. But other days where you just kind of want to have a little more levity in your horror film, not be completely disgusted and sort of like eat food as you watch it and relax, you got to have something a little more light. You know, something like Lost Boys or like Monster Squad, for example. But yeah, man, I don't know if I'm going to eat pizza tonight. Maybe some shrimp. I don't know why shrimp sounds good, but I want to eat some frozen shrimp. and I want to eat the rest of this Twix bar. So maybe I'll do that. But yeah, tonight I'm probably going to watch Scream, actually. I feel like Scream is one of those horror films you can kind of relax when you watch it. You know what I mean? You're not completely heightened up on your senses, you know? All right, the next one. On a quick side note, when it comes to Scream, one of my favorite scenes is when Jamie Kennedy is working in the video store. Something about that scene, I wish it lasted 25 minutes. All right, let's keep going. Carter Lovejoy says, what movies can you not miss out on every Halloween? For me, it's Scream. Well, we just talked about that. Halloween 78. Halloween 78, you have to watch it every October. At least I do. That and Hocus Pocus. The Shining. I watch The Shining maybe once every 5 years. I'm not gonna hurt you. I'm just gonna bash your brains in. The Great Pumpkin, Charlie Brown, and Hocus Pocus. Yeah, so we agreed on 3 of those movies. Charlie Brown is just one of those movies I watched as a kid, and I don't really have the desire to watch it now as a man in his mid-30s. But I do like it, though. Another one I tried to watch a couple of years ago, I used to love as a kid, was Ernest Scared Stupid. That is a good time. If you can get some friends together and drink a whole bunch of alcohol, that movie is phenomenal. All right. Or watch Trolls 2 or something. Flicks, Games, and Sex Tips. That's a great... Is that a real channel? I gotta look this up. Rank your top 3 to 5 fast food restaurants. Oh, man. Top 3... Wendy's Spicy Chicken Nuggets, definitely put it in the top 3. I would say number 2 is a place called Culver's. Not many places might have this, but it feels like they make clean food. They make when they make food, it doesn't feel like it's sitting around for 7 hours under a heat lamp before they serve it to you. So I'd go with Culver's. And my number 1 pick for fast food. At one point, I really did enjoy Subway, but the more I ate it, the more I got disgusted with it. I don't know. I'll go with those. The one fast food restaurant that completely and utterly disgusts me, though, is Taco Bell. I feel like I'm eating dog meat wrapped in a tortilla shell. But when you're hungry and it's the only thing open, it tastes so good. So I can't explain that witchcraft. So let's go to the next one here. God, you guys are killing it with thank you guys for killing it with the questions. No pun intended for Halloween. All right. Austin Rash says, John, are movie critics on crack this year? Give me an example. I mean, there's many opinions I've never agreed with. I couldn't understand how they got to it. The logic seemed completely flawed, and I wondered how much the studio was paying certain critics that left things on Rotten Tomatoes, or how afraid they were of society and their judgment of what they would really say about a film. But either way, you'd have to give me an example what you mean by that. DD says, did you see Halloween 2018 in theaters? Thought thoughts on the opening. I think it's almost as good as the 78 opening. I did not like the 2018 Halloween. I did see it in theaters. I watched it, I think me and Stuckman saw it at a press screening together. And we both just were like, no, didn't like it. The opening, I vaguely remember the opening to it. Actually, I remember they're going to the institution where Michael Myers is. And then two podcasters randomly get access to interview a sociopathic serial killer in an insane asylum. I don't know how that works. And then they have evidence, which is Michael Myers' mask, which would be in an evidence room because he did murder people. And I don't know how some podcaster would get a hold of such things. So for me, I just thought the movie was really terribly written. It felt like a screenplay written by a child, in my opinion. I didn't like it. Is that the opening we're talking about? Maybe I don't remember exactly how the movie opens. But I refuse to go back and watch it to find out. Daryl Harmsey says, hey, John, if you could use any 5 actors and any director to be in a horror movie based on your script, what would the story be? It's got to be a horror film. Okay. Which director? I would like to see maybe Tarantino directing a horror film would be pretty cool. How about Tarantino directing a horror film? I want Samuel L. Jackson to be in the movie, obviously. I would like Leonardo DiCaprio to be in the movie. I'd like Christian Bale, Jake Gyllenhaal, and let's go with is it Ana de Armas? Or I feel like I say her name wrong every time. Ana de Armas from Knives Out. I feel like I'm saying her name wrong. Either way, her. I'd have her in the movie as well. She could be like the one true protagonist of the film, and everyone else is pure evil. All right, the next one comes from, what would the story be? I definitely have it set in like the 1970s. I think that'd be a good time period to have it. Something about the 70s was just terrifying. I don't know if it was the way people dressed or something, but yeah. And then to go into a deep dive of the story, I don't know off the top of my head, but I feel like I just gave you enough information. That's a movie I'd want to see. Luca O'Neill says, have you seen Mandy with Nicolas Cage? Trippy film. I have seen Mandy. I saw it years ago. I thought the second half of Mandy was way more enjoyable. The first half was just like a weird acid trip that wasn't that entertaining. But as soon as Nicolas Cage had his freak out on the bathroom floor, I was more into the movie. It was okay. I don't think I'd go back and revisit it. Speaking of Nicolas Cage movies, I do need to still watch Pig. Someone said Taco Bell's beef is definitely trash, but I get behind their chicken. Yeah, I'm sure it's all trash. It's just how much hot sauce can you put on it to mask it. Uncharted or Eternals, pick one. I haven't seen either movie, man, so I would rather probably watch Eternals than Uncharted, just because it looks more visually interesting to me. I'd rather just play Uncharted the game. Like, why? I don't want to watch the movie. I'd just rather play the game. Josh Coffey says, hey, Flick Pick. Well, hey, Josh. What with Superman animated series now on Blu-ray, which is the better animated series, Superman animated or Batman Beyond? I never really watched the Batman Beyond series. Now, the original Batman animated series, now, if you would have said that, clear victory by far. And as far as the Superman animated series, I never got into it. Like, for me, when I was a kid, it was X-Men, Batman animated, occasionally, Spider-Man, occasionally. And then you had like some crappy, like animated shows like Biker Mice from Mars. Like, what the hell was that? Does anyone remember Biker Mice from Mars? It's insane. It was a clear ripoff. Like the same thing with Street Sharks. It was just a blatant ripoff of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. But let's go to the next one. That's a weird memory I just unlocked. Mike Spoon says, "Do you think John Campea makes his wife tuck him into bed at night and read him a bedtime story? It would explain a lot." And our next main topic of the evening is, well, first, let me preface with this. Now, I don't actually have inside information or anything, but what I'm going to do is speculate for the next 47 minutes. And, now listen, John, what do you think about this? I don't know. I don't know. I don't know about his home life. I couldn't tell you. Let's go to the next one. I should have been John Campia for Halloween. Damn it. Let's go to the next one here. Bradford Perkins says, "Hey John, huge fan. I was excited for Eternals, but from what I'm hearing, my excitement has gone down." Well, keep in mind we're on the B squad of the Marvel side of things right now, but they blew their load with Endgame. Their load has been blown, okay, into an old tube sock that you hide under your bed, and then your mom cleans your room. She's like, "What happened here?" I'm like, "I don't know," but so right now, they're sort of grasping at straws. Now, I think there's hope. I think that the new Doctor Strange movie with Sam Raimi directing it could be fun. I think the Spider-Man No Way Home could be a good time. But like the Eternals, there's nothing about the characters or the story that gets me that excited. I'm going to go check it out Thursday night, opening night. But yeah, I've heard mixed things at best. So we'll see. It feels like one of those like filler Marvel movies. Like we kind of had to do it. We own the property. We'll see how it pans out. Maybe there won't be a sequel. But but speaking of Marvel, in all fairness, I am excited for like the upcoming Guardians of the Galaxy, the new Thor movie. But really everything new that they're throwing at us, like all the new characters, I'm like, it's just, I don't know. How do you like top Robert Downey Jr.'s Iron Man or Captain America, Chris Evans? It's just, I feel like that dynamic will never be replaced. Luke O'Neill says, "Have you seen There Will Be Blood?" Absolutely, many, many times. That's a great film. And the weird thing is I didn't watch it for like the first couple years that it existed. I don't know why. I liked the director of the film. I think he makes great stuff. And then I just had to be in the right mindset when I watched it, because the first time I watched it, I didn't love it. And then I watched it like a year later and I was like, this is a phenomenal movie. It was so immersive and slow paced and just perfectly executed. "I drink your milkshake. I drink it up. Oh, yes, my good boy Eli. Yes, say it now. Let me hear you say it. Say you're a false prophet. That's it, Eli. Yes, come on now." Oh, I love it. I kind of want to watch it right now. And I bash your head in with a bowling pin. Gaming Junkie 1723 says, "Hey John, have you seen the movie Only the Strong from 1993? Why did I have to read it like that? I don't know. Only the Strong from 1993. Let me quickly Google search this. And thanks to all 299 of you watching. Let's see. Only the Strong 1993. I don't know. This looks like some direct to VHS movie about fighting. Dude, I actually have seen this. Yes, I have seen this. It's kind of like a generic kind of straight to video fighting movie because these were huge. It sort of reminds me of a movie they wanted to get Jean-Claude Van Damme for, but he probably didn't want to do it. I do vaguely remember seeing this as a kid on like HBO. I vaguely remember that. It kind of looks like Lionheart, that was another Jean-Claude Van Damme movie from the early 90s, which sort of reminded me of like a better version of Street Fighter. Oddly enough, Jean-Claude Van Damme did play Guile in the actual Street Fighter movie, but there's bits of Lionheart where like they're fighting in parking lots. It's kind of like a street fighting movie, which it's almost a better Street Fighter movie from the game than the actual movie Street Fighter. So anyway, take that how you will. All right, let's get back to the questions here. Luke O'Neill says, favorite of the Dead movie out of the trilogy. What? Like the Evil Dead movies? Probably the second one, which is essentially a remake of the first movie, but with a bigger budget. So I'd say the second Evil Dead. Your name here says, Happy Halloween, John. Well, happy Halloween to all of you. What was the first scene of a non-horror film that scared you? For me, it was the opening of Jurassic Park. Poor guy. Shoot her! Shoot her! Yeah. Trying to think here. A non-horror film. Gosh, that's hard off the top of my head here. Uh, yeah, it's a horror film though. I was gonna say like it's still a horror film, but like the opening of Ghostbusters, I think it's like I know it's sort of like a horror film, but the opening scene in Ghostbusters when the librarian goes down into that basement where all the drawers keep opening, that is terrifying. That is scary shit. And then the movie has a little more levity as it goes. Also, speaking of Ghostbusters, I'll tell you another terrifying, underrated horror icon of all time. All right, Vigo the Carpathian from Ghostbusters 2. You know, the painting that comes out of the painting and he's just terrifying and he wants to like steal children and suck their souls. That shit's terrifying. So Vigo the Carpathian from Ghostbusters 2 is also an underrated horror villain. I was trying to think of another non-horror movie scene. Why don't you guys in the live chat over here tell me a scene in a non-horror film that terrified you, and I'll try to pick a few good ones, but let me know. Saint Silo says, I'm going to a Halloween party tonight and don't have a costume. What should I be? I'm stopping by a costume store on the way and need some suggestions. Well, good luck, man, because I knew someone who went to a few Halloween stores yesterday to try to get a Halloween costume, and they walked in and there was like three things. There was basically like a witch's hat and some fake blood in the entire store. So good luck finding a costume tonight. I think time is counting down. You're going to have to come up with something creative. I mean, really, if you can find a blonde wig and cut off an old t-shirt, cut off the sleeves, wear some like tight denim jeans, you could be Buffalo Bill. You could be Buffalo Bill. Try to find like a little stuffed animal dog or something and walk around with it. You could do that. That's what I would do. The twins from Shining scene gave me chills. Yeah, but The Shining's a horror film, though, so we got to go non-horror film. But I will say, yeah, when the little kid on the tricycle's riding around that corner and you see the shot of the twins in the distance, every time I've ever been in a large building or a hotel with long hallways where you walk around a corner, I just get ready to see something terrifying every time. I love it. I don't know why, though. I like it. The spider from Lord of the Rings. Yeah, that spider scene was pretty terrifying. The opening in Jaws. Well, I consider that a horror film, though, in a way. The X-Men cartoon does not hold up. Slap yourself. Blasphemy. What? The opening to the X-Men animated series gets me pumped up every time. I still enjoy that cartoon. Now, some seasons aren't as good as others, but I still think it's pretty damn good, especially for the early 90s. I'd much rather watch that than this modern day shit that kids are watching on Nickelodeon or Disney or whatever they're watching, that mediocre trash. Ugh. All right, let's go to the chalkboard scene in Jaws, yeah. What else do we have here? The Nosy Neighbors and Son of Mask. I never watched that. The basement scene in Zodiac, that is very unsettling. I do agree. Also, the scene in Prisoners where Jake Gyllenhaal, coincidentally enough, is down in another basement. That's also another good scene. All right, the next one comes from Rex. Any good memories that have happened on Halloween? You know, I was actually just talking to a friend earlier about Halloween, and I grew up in the 90s. And Halloween in the 90s, actually, when you went trick-or-treating, took place at nighttime. Nowadays, they start trick-or-treating at 4 o'clock in the afternoon, and they stop at 6 before the sun even starts setting. So it's insane to me. It's just not the same. I feel sorry for kids nowadays. Sure, it's safe, but you know what? It's not terrifying, and Halloween should be terrifying. Like, as a young kid, we used to go out miles away from my house, just riding our bikes, trick-or-treating, with no parental supervision, and we would be trick-or-treating until like 8:30 at night, just going to these weird houses at the end of streets that we probably shouldn't have been going to, essentially Buffalo Bill houses. But as a kid, it's scary, but at the same time, it's a great experience, as long as you don't get abducted and murdered. So I do miss that. Those are great memories. And now, I feel like kids nowadays just won't have those. The next one comes from Willie Plays. Great name. Best superhero movie and worst superhero movie. I consider the Dark Knight superhero movies. I don't care what anyone says. So I would say the Dark Knight's by one of my favorites. Also, I would say like Infinity War, Endgame. I combine those two as some of the best if you want to be superheroes. The worst, I would say, is probably... I mean, I could say either of the Venom movies are pretty bad. I mean, Batman and Robin's pretty bad, but oddly enough, entertaining. Have you ever seen the movie Steel with starring Shaq? That's pretty bad. I might go with that. Or no. Catwoman with Halle Berry. Ugh, scratch my eyes out. So, yeah, I'll go with those. Night King 01 says, John, Rennie Harlan also directed Die Hard 2, Cliffhanger, and A Long Kiss Goodnight. Like I said, he directed some good movies, but he also directed a lot of terrible movies, like Driven. I like A Long Kiss Goodnight with Gina Davis, though. That's an underrated 90s action movie. If you've never seen it, check it out. It has Samuel L. Jackson in it. Cliffhanger is pretty intense. That is an intense movie. Very well made. And Die Hard 2, I've seen Die Hard 2 like twice in my life. I'd much rather watch Die Hard 3. Let's see. Epic Pelez? Let's see here. Hey, John. Been a fan since like 2012. Well, thank you for that. Anyway, I want to know what happened to your Uncle Gary. Is he still in Maine? Love you, man. Happy Halloween. Yeah, I once said my Uncle Gary was in an insane asylum in Maine. Technically not. He lived in Indiana. He was more or less just an alcoholic. But no, he passed away many years ago. But I think his soul went into Tiny Todd. But thanks for the question, man. What is this? Cusped 33? Cusped 33? Hey, John, what do you think it's a good, not horror movie, but it's actually pretty disturbing? For example, Prisoners or Nightcrawler. Also, do you think life is like dominoes? At times, life can be like dominoes. You knock one thing over and they just keep falling and falling until you put your foot down and you make your own destiny like a real man. Sometimes, sure. Nightcrawler to me is a comedy movie. It's an entertaining comedy movie. That's what Nightcrawler is to me. It's a phenomenal movie in every way. Prisoners is by far terrifying. Yes, if the first time you watch Prisoners and you don't know the ending to the movie, it is thrilling and suspenseful. Also, Silence of the Lambs, like I mentioned before, Silence of the Lambs is terrifying. Especially as a kid watching that. Buffalo Bill, I just assumed everyone in my neighborhood was Buffalo Bill. So yeah, those are a few I would pick. What's something else? I mean, Seven is pretty terrifying. Most of the things David Fincher directs are pretty terrifying. If you want a good, suspenseful, like, thrilling horror, not horror, but suspenseful mystery movie, like David Fincher's Girl with the Dragon Tattoo remake is pretty good, with a damn good ending, which coincidentally enough also concludes in a basement of a serial killer, much like Silence of the Lambs. There's just something about basements. They're so scary. All right. The next one comes from Luke O'Neill. Have you seen the original Suspiria? Why do I not? I feel like I'm saying that wrong. Suspiria? Came out in 2018. It's a horror thriller. Young American dancer Susie arrives in the 1970s in Berlin to audition. Huh. It's got a 65% on Rotten Tomatoes. Have I seen this? No, I have not seen this. I have not seen it. Nope, I haven't seen it. Is it good? All right, the next one comes from somebody here. Art Vandalay says, rank the greats, Rings, Annabelle, Truth or Dare. Did you put Ouija in there? Oh my god. Ouija is the biggest pile of shit I've ever seen in my life, and I still have a grudge against that movie, and I'll tell you why. Years ago, when I reviewed the first Ouija movie, they put a copyright strike on my channel because I used like 4 seconds of trailer footage. And I think what happened was the marketing team are a bunch of assholes and they saw my review and it was negative. And they're like, no, we're going to put a strike on here for 4 seconds of fair use of trailer footage. And I like went back and forth with that for like a year. So fuck that movie. Fuck Ouija 2. Fuck everyone who made it. The next one, Annabelle. The first one's not very good. The second or third Annabelle got better. I don't remember which one was which. I have a review for one of the Annabelle movies, or no, do I have a review for all the Annabelle movies, or at least 2 of them I do. Truth or Dare, that was terrible. Me and Stuckman did a review of that, and and Rings, the sequel, is pretty bad too. Now the first Ring movie, the remake The Ring from the early 2000s, I think is one of the best horror remakes of all time. That and the Texas Chainsaw Massacre remake. Those are 2 of the best horror movie remakes I've ever seen in my life, and I stand by that. I could watch the Texas Chainsaw Massacre remake right now. It's so good. It's so well done. I think they like got Leatherface right in that movie. He's scary as shit too, and it just like it's made very well. It doesn't feel like just a slap together crappy horror movie. Christian Baller says, how dare you say that about our Lord and Savior Taco Bell? Unsubscribed, disliked, and reported for hate speech. Well, if that's the price I have to pay for the truth, then I stand by it. But thank you for that. Don't get me wrong, I still get a chalupa every once in a while when I'm feeling a little bit desperate in the middle of the night. You just put a lot of hot sauce on it. It all tastes the same. Carter Lovejoy says, what video games scared you as a kid? For me, it was the Harry Potter games for PS2. The stealth levels that took place at night terrified me due to being caught by the perfects and the frightening music. The prefects. I as a kid, and we will talk about Zombies Ate My Neighbors once again. The Zombies Ate My Neighbors, I think it's the 4th map in the game, where you have the huge guys with chainsaws, and the song is going da-na-na-na-na, da-na-na-na-na. That was terrifying when you heard their chainsaws revving up and you're trying to hide and get through the bushes. Oh god, that was, as a kid, that was too much stress for a child to handle. And I think that's what's wrong with me. That was one of them. I'm trying to think of like another video game that might have terrified me. Nothing more than that though. I remember playing like a few of the early Resident Evil games. Those are pretty somber and scary at times when you're like walking down a dark hallway and you don't know what to do. But yeah, I'd go with Zombies Ate My Neighbors. And thanks for the question, Carter. Bo Cylinder says, hey, John, the Star Wars prequels were boring and bad, but Rise of Skywalker was hilariously bad. Agree? Oh, yeah. Oh, that was like the equivalent of like everything wrong with modern day movies in a screenplay, Rise of Skywalker. They had no clear endpoint. It felt like they were making it up as they went, and they just threw shit in there that they thought would appease fans, but they did it in the most crappy way possible. And then also the ending of the movie where Rey and Kylo Ren kiss was not only disgusting, but hilariously bad. Then he just fades away. How could it get any worse? I don't know. But yes, I agree. Johnny Darko. I'm going to say John. I think it's Johnny Darko. Hey, John. Tomorrow I'm watching The Exorcist for Halloween. I need more movies from different subgenres. Any ideas? I mean, for the last hour, I think we've been talking about multiple ones. You can watch Scream. You can watch the Texas Chainsaw Massacre remake, the first Ring remake. If you want something a little bit different, you could watch like Old Boy. That's pretty good. If you haven't watched Squid Game on Netflix, check that out. That's another possibility. Watch the original Nightmare on Elm Street, or you could watch the sequel, Dream Warriors, which is by far the best sequel of Nightmare on Elm Street, or you could actually watch the second Nightmare on Elm Street, which has one of the best opening scenes in any of the Nightmare on Elm Street movies, where a kid is, I'm dying, where it has like the school bus scene, which I always thought was terrifying. And then it gets a little bit weird with some of its undertones after that. But yeah, those are a few suggestions. The next one comes from James Doshier. Thoughts on the movie Gangs from New York. I like it. It's not one of my favorite Scorsese movies. I do like the time period in like the late 1800s. I like Leonardo DiCaprio in the movie. I think Cameron Diaz was the weakest link in that movie, trying to do an Irish accent. She's not bad. I do like Bill the Butcher in the movie. It's a good time. I like my favorite thing about Gangs of New York is the ending, where it shows like the transition of time of New York, and it shows the skyline changing rapidly with the music playing. I always really like that ending to the movie. But yeah, I enjoy it. Luca O'Neill says, I meant the George Romero of the Dead trilogy. Yeah, I've seen a few of those movies. And I'm not like, I'm not very well versed on them, to be honest with you, to give you my breakdown of all of them. I've seen some of them over the years. What was the newer George Romero movie? It's not newer, but it came out in like the early 2000s. Was it called like City of the Dead or something with John Leguizamo, where they shoot off fireworks to distract the zombies and all the people that are rich live in the city skyscrapers? It's not very good. It kind of feels cheap, but I always sort of liked it as a guilty pleasure. What is that called? Someone let me know. I like Dawn of the Dead, yeah. I like Dawn of the Dead. I also think Dawn of the Dead, the remake by Zack Snyder, is one of the better horror movie remakes, actually. Actually, I kind of feel like watching that now, just talking about it. What is my favorite Stephen King adaptation? I know you probably want to hear me say like something like It or something along those lines. I'm just going to say Maximum Overdrive. Best horror movie ever made. It's where machines come to life, starring Emilio Estevez. No, I'm kidding. I'd probably say, in all reality, The Shawshank Redemption. It's the best Stephen King adaptation to a film. Yeah, Land of the Dead. That's what I'm thinking of. Land of the Dead, yeah. I haven't seen that movie in a long time. I used to own it on DVD. George Ray says, what is your biggest criticism of Rise of Skywalker? The screenplay, the fact that Rey is like super Jesus all of a sudden with very little training, where she can do anything and everything. So it instantly just takes you out of the movie because she is essentially God now. The plot that just seems like they make it up as they go. Let's see. I mean, really, what was good about the movie is the question. And I can't think of anything that was good about the movie. Kung Fu Hot Dog has become a member. Yay! Thanks, Kung Fu Hot Dog. And by the way, if anyone is a member, no matter which member perk you picked, I put up a new vlog video yesterday, just giving you guys some updates, talking about Halloween, and I gave some quick thoughts on the movie The Last Duel. So if you want to check that out, go to the community tab on my channel. You can see all the perks, or if you're a Patreon supporter, it's on the Patreon feed. But thanks, man. Gary Brooks says, hey, John, thoughts on the new Lightyear? I watched the trailer. I don't think it looks bad. I'll probably watch it at some point. I just don't care. Like, I like the character of Buzz Lightyear in the Toy Story movies. I like the camaraderie with him and Woody. But to watch like a spin-off movie about the real Buzz Lightyear that the toy is sort of based on, I just don't care. I like, it's not that I think it looks bad. I just have very little interest in it. But I'll probably check it out. Epic Pelez, non-horror scary scene, the Pigeon Lady. Oh, Jesus. Now, the Pigeon Lady in Home Alone 2 is not only terrifying, she's utterly disgusting. I can't look at her when I eat. I could watch Hannibal Lecter eat the face off of 25 people, then look at the Pigeon Lady for 2 seconds without regurgitating my food. Utterly disgusting. Disgusting. Let's go to the next question. All right. Yes, thank you. Thank you for the Pigeon Lady. It's just covered in pigeon shit. It's like, take a bath. All right, let's go to the next one. Stan Adrian says, hey, John, big fan from the Netherlands. Are you still going to watch Pig? Well, thanks for the super chat. Very generous of you. Thanks, man. And I still want to watch Pig. It's probably on VOD right now. I just have not got around to it. I will watch Pig. Maybe maybe this week or something. Maybe me and my buddy and I or something will watch it. So yeah, I kind of want to watch it. I really do. I just haven't got around to it. I still need to watch. I have it somewhere on 4K. I have the Green Knight on 4K, which I still need to watch as well. So there's a lot of movies I need to watch before the end of the year, so I can do like a top 10 best and worst of the year. Now the worst movies of this year will be very easy to do. That like, geez, just pick 10 movies. You can almost make that. But yeah, I'm looking forward to it. So thanks for the question. Benny, did you watch Goosebumps? Stay out of the basement. I did watch some Goosebumps episodes as a kid. I vaguely remember some of them. I love the opening score to the Goosebumps. But as a kid, I would say I was more of a Are You Afraid of the Dark on Nickelodeon kind of guy. That to me was more terrifying. And I feel like I want to go back and revisit some of those episodes to be like, was it still scary? It just was like Goosebumps was slightly more fantastical. Are You Afraid of the Dark felt slightly more grounded. And I always liked the opening where the kids got together at a campfire and like told stories. Something about that was just like, I always wanted friends like that, where we could go in the woods and like have a campfire and tell scary stories. There was always a fantasy of mine as a kid, and having friends. All right, so the next one, Night King 01, just watch Die Hard 3 again. So good. Oh, dude, Die Hard 3 just, it's the ending is a little weak, but everything else, the whole relationship with Zeus, played by Samuel Jackson, and John McClane throughout the whole movie, where they have to kind of do that team up buddy thing, but they don't like each other. Oh man, that's such a good movie. It goes beyond just like a Die Hard movie. It just feels like a great fun action movie where these two characters are running around New York trying to stop bombs. So good. That's why it's my favorite Die Hard movie. Kung Fu Hot Dog with another question here. John, the greatest gift of 2021 is Nintendo casting Chris Pratt as Luigi in their animated movie. I believe he was cast as Mario, if I'm not mistaken. Wasn't Charlie Day cast as Luigi? Anyway, I'll continue. A big F to you Chris Pratt haters. I can't wait to see it. Don't get me wrong, I want to see a cool animated Mario movie. I think there's so much you can do. I think with the lore and the adventure they can go on, it definitely lends itself to have a lot of comedy in it. I think Chris Pratt is usually, he's being cast in just about everything. If he's not like fighting dinosaurs, he's the voice of the Lego movies. I'm excited to see. I'm curious what animation style they're going to use. I'm sure it's going to look like something like probably like Wreck-It Ralph or something along those lines. But what I wanted to see was sort of like a motion capture style, sort of what they were doing with the like the Polar Express, for example. Like sort of a more realistic animated style Mario movie, which I think would just, something about that would be a bit more immersive for me. Maybe creepy as well, but that's what I would like to see. Yeah, I'm excited to check it out. But you know, I already know it's going to be like this over the top comedic style, because whenever you have Jack Black being the voice of Bowser, you already know it's going to like more or less what the tone is going to be. But I'm excited to check it out. Luke O'Neill says, watch the 70s why do I feel like I cannot say this right? Suspiria? Not the 2018 version. Okay, the 70s version is better. Got it. Yeah, I mean, I'm sure it is. I mean, I just something about horror films made in the 70s just have this grittiness to them that makes them that much more terrifying. The jacket is still fire. Well, thank you, Nico. Zeus, not Jesus. I don't know. I said Zeus. I don't know if you're talking to me. Oh yeah, the line from the movie, Zeus, not Jesus. Yeah. The name Zeus, like the god of thunder, shoot lightning bolts up your ass. Yeah, I love it. That's another reason to go watch Die Hard 3, guys. Elliot Cecil says, are you excited about the Lord of the Rings show on Amazon? I am excited. And I will say this. I'm rewatching Game of Thrones for like the 4th or 5th time. And just no other TV series has ever compared to Game of Thrones. As far as like the scope, the epicness, the craftsmanship, the storytelling, the cinematography. Every episode of Game of Thrones feels like an epic movie. So I'm hoping Lord of the Rings, the new series, gives me that same feeling. I need it. I want it. I crave it. So yes, I am excited. Dominican Scott, John, how are you? Halloween 4 or Halloween H2O? I'm good. Thank you for the question. How are you? Halloween 4, was Halloween 4 the one with the, was that the one with the little girl who grew up to, like, now she does, like, every horror convention out there? The little girl who wears, kind of turns into Michael Myers, sort of, kind of. Is that Halloween 4? I think Halloween H2O has a little bit more rewatchability, though I hate the portrayal of Michael Myers in Halloween H2O. It just looks like a little kid in a Halloween mask running around. Like, Michael Myers in that looks like he's 5'5", running around with an afro wig on. So yes, yeah, Halloween 4 was the one. Yeah, if you rewatch Halloween 4, like, the first half of that movie is pretty boring. Like, it's kind of a boring movie, and then once it starts getting going, it's fun. But I definitely go with Halloween H2. I just think it's a much better made movie. Plus, the mask that Michael Myers wears in Halloween 4 wasn't like the worst mask he ever had. It just looks so awful. like how did they allow that to happen? That's what I vaguely remember from that movie. Art Vandalay says, thoughts on Shutter Island, my favorite psychological thriller. Shutter Island's good stuff, man. I haven't seen it in a very long time. Actually, I have not seen it since theaters, and I have the 4K steelbook of it. Martin Scorsese movie, it's good. Leonardo DiCaprio. I like the lobotomy thing. And also, it's one of those movies that sort of has this ambiguous tone to it. Like, you can take it one way or another, exactly what happened. It's almost like an Inception of sorts. But more of a horror themed. And I love the visual aspects of Shutter Island. The old insane asylum. Oh, terrifying. I kind of want to rewatch that as well. Huh. The next one, Kung Fu Hot Dog once again. Hey, Big J. I'll take that. Thanks, man. Thoughts on Lost in Space 1998. Not very good. Stars Joey from Friends. I like the robot. Danger, Will Robinson, danger. I watched it in theaters with my stepdad because he was sort of a fan of the show when he was younger. Instantly forgettable. That's what I remember about it. Why? Because I remember very little. Azim the Dream Reviews. I think the scene that scared me the most as a kid was when Robert Malden and Ellie Sadler walk into the maintenance shed in Jurassic Park and see the broken fence with the raptors get out. The music, the tension, Mr. Arnold death was so suspenseful. Yeah, that's a great scene as well. The thing about that always bothered me was when they go when Ellie goes to turn on the power down that long dark corridor, and there's like 5 doors that she has to walk through. Somehow that ripped off arm, that severed arm falls out from like the wires above her. It's like, how did that get there? How did the raptors get in there to do that? I mean, there's some things you just have to forget about when you watch Jurassic Park. But yeah, it was it was probably the most terrifying scene in that movie, tonally speaking. James Doshier has become a member. Yay! Thanks, James. Claudia Rogajon says, hey, biggest flickus erectus. In the post-apocalyptic wastelands, that would be my name. Thoughts on Desperado? I've seen it once. I like it. Desperado. Yeah. Didn't they make a sequel? But Desperado's the one where he has the guitar case with like the gun in it. Right? And Selma Hayek's in the movie. I've seen that once a long time ago. I thought it was okay. Lost Boys or Fright Night? I'd probably go Lost Boys, just because the saxophone guy in the opening of the movie playing the saxophone all buff, covered in baby oil. That's a good scene. Plus it has Corey Feldman in it. Come on, man. John, do a night of night crawling from a 13 News photographer. Do like a flick trip Nightcrawler movie night. Many of my flick trips are sort of like a Nightcrawler, so Except I don't record dead bodies. I just record movies. Claudio Rogajan says, Myers in H2O is taller than the original Myers. Laugh aloud. Yeah, but he's not portrayed that way. They don't portray him as being bigger or taller. He just looks like a little kid in a mask running around. That's the thing. That's called movie magic. It's called getting your camera angles right so your antagonist looks terrifying. But something about him in those movies does not. In the original Halloween movie, I understand the guy who plays Michael Myers isn't that big of a dude. But the way they filmed that the movie, he does look more menacing. So that's what I will say to you. Josh Coffey says, Ryan Gosling is Wolfman. Dark Universe is back. Well, I mean, they made the Invisible Man movie, which is okay. I know a lot of people love it. Ryan Gosling as Wolfman, I think, will be good. I hope it's good. I don't think Ryan Gosling would sign up to be in a shitty horror movie as the Wolfman. So I think there's a lot you can do with that. You know, it doesn't just have to be like this generic junky horror movie. Like, if it's a real movie about this guy who has like this dark side where he turns into this werewolf and starts, you know, destroying people at night on a full moon, that can be interesting. If you treat it like a real movie, that can be very interesting. So I'm looking forward to it. Craig Thompson says, explain the ending of American Psycho. Well, the actual writer of the novel and the director have come out and said some of those things literally did happen. But I don't agree with those things. I like to think a lot of those things, and they even say like, oh, we thought we got it across that those actually did happen. But I don't agree with that. Even though they made it as a viewer and a fan of those movies, I like to think a majority of those things were just in the mind of Patrick Bateman. So you can it's one of those things where you can leave it ambiguous, or you can actually listen to the thoughts of the writer of the novel and take it as it literally did happen. I don't like that, though. I like to think 99% of it was just in Patrick Bateman's head and it didn't exist, because then I relate to it more. Baby Jupiter says, nothing, but thanks for the super chat, Baby Jupiter. All right, let's keep going here. Desperado is a remake of El Mariachi. I did not know that. Are you going to review Halloween Kills? If I don't do it tomorrow, I probably never will, so just wait and see. Shame that my Laserdisc of Jumanji is plagued with laser rot. Well, it's okay. I'm pretty sure you could probably get another one off eBay. Fairly inexpensive. Josh Coffey says, Wolfman director is the same as Place Beyond the Pines. Yeah. Did I know that? I think I did. I like Place Beyond the Pines, the first act. Now, everything after the first act, it's okay, but the first act of Place Beyond the Pines should have been the movie, and I love it. Ryan Gosling as the Moto Bandit robbing banks, all white trash-like. That's so good. That's the first 35 minutes of that movie are phenomenal. Hey, bro, did you ever see L.A. Confidential? Yeah, I've seen L.A. Confidential a few times. It's good. I like the time period. I like Kim Basinger in the movie, and I like Kim Basinger in very few movies, and Russell Crowe's in the movie. Yeah, it's a good time. You should read and answer every last comment like an auctioneer. All right, the next one comes from Platinum. The hunter of the Jumanji skiing scared the shit out of me. And the next one comes from a man in a red shirt wearing khaki pants. I couldn't do that. My brain would explode. All right, guys, what I'm going to do is answer a few more questions on this Hallows Eve. That way I can go summon the dark spirits and eat Twix bars before it gets too late and the full moon dissipates. So yeah, the next one comes from Claudia Rogajan. Desperado is a sequel, not a remake of El Mariachi. Who cares? Okay, thank you. Are we still talking about fucking Desperado? What are we doing here? Josh Riviera says, have you watched The King on Netflix about Henry V? Watched it last night. Pretty entertaining. I have not watched The King. I haven't watched The King. What time era is that? What time period does that take place in? I was just reading an article today about one king or something in Europe from like 300 years ago. And he was a product of inbreeding for like 200 years to keep the bloodlines pure. and he was such a disfigured, fucked up looking person that they were describing him as being terrifying and having all these health issues from inbreeding. But you got to keep those bloodlines clean. Come on. Bolivier, Shang Nasty, great name, but thanks for the question. Sorry, I just got here. Was watching Elm Street for the first time with the wife. Also, our first Halloween weren't allowed to celebrate as kids. Loved it. Stay magical, mystical. Oh, you weren't allowed to celebrate Halloween as kids? Well, I'm glad you... welcome to the dark side. Enjoy. Blood, slaughter, screams, and terror. What'd you think about it? I think the first Nightmare on Elm Street is the most terrifying one. Nancy. Oh, and when Freddy's walking down the alleyway going like this, chasing. Oh, that's scary shit. But yeah, happy Halloween. Thanks, man. Love the tangent, John. Well, you're welcome. When is the next members only stream next week? Yeah, look out for a members only stream. I'll try to do it like the first week of November. I will announce it ahead of time. Shrek 4 is crazy underrated. After the third Shrek, I stopped giving a shit. Luke O'Neill says, pick the flick. Also, Hal 900 is a scary character. You're right, he is scary. One day, all of our electronics are going to turn into HAL 900. I'm sorry, I can't do that. Watch, one day Alexa is just going to churn on you. Just give it time. It's happening. But thanks for the question, Luke. And probably no pick the flick tonight. I played it on the last live show at the very end, so if you want to watch it, check it out. But yeah, not tonight. Craig King says, how do you feel about Twin Peaks? I never watched Twin Peaks. Never got into it, never watched it. I've heard people love it. I just, for some reason, never got into it. Daryl Harmsey says, John, if you had to be stuck on an island with only one of your ex-girlfriends from the YouTube days, which one would it be? I don't know. If you had to ask them that question, that probably sounds like the most terrifying thing they would ever have to decide. I couldn't tell you, man. I don't know. Honestly, I'd rather be stuck on an island with Tiny Todd. Way more enjoyable. The next one... The next one comes from Luke O'Neill. Oh, I just answered that. Sorry. The next one comes from Dan Robbins. Has become a member. Thanks, Dan Robbins. Yay! Thanks for becoming a member. Nicolas Cage thanks you too. Claudia Rojan says, I'm dressed as John Constantine. Thoughts on the movie? Watched it once. It's okay. I think it has some good scenes. Constantine, it was okay. It just felt like such an early 2000s movie to me. I didn't hate it when I watched it, but it was nothing I ever wanted to really revisit. Daryl Harmsey says, John, would you ever become an adult film star? I think if my life completely fell apart and I got hardcore drug addiction, but I really wouldn't even need to. I could just do like an OnlyFans or something and cover myself in baby oil and talk about movies. That could be my outlet one day. Maybe it will be. I don't know. So probably not. Little Tomato says, do you like the Hellraiser movies? I watched the first Hellraiser movie and I thought it was completely awful. I think it's awful. They lied to you. They lied to us about that movie. The marketing was great because the movie is about this boring couple who like move into this house, and Hellraiser is essentially in the movie for like a total of 14 seconds. It's not the movie you think it's going to be based on the cover. I will tell you that. I was so disappointed when I watched that as a kid. I'm like, this is a movie about two boring people that live in a house. What is this shit? Now the sequels, I don't think I've really watched the Hellraiser sequels. I would only assume there's more Hellraiser. Actually, that's a lie. I did watch one of the sequels. I remember this guy. He's in like he's like a guy in jail, and he tells his lawyer to go fuck himself. And then like that wish actually gets granted, and the guy's body contorts and twists, and it actually does happen. That's what I vaguely remember about one of the sequels, I think. Do you have an OnlyFans? No, but I have a Patreon and YouTube members. So it's more or less the same thing, except you get really cool podcasts and videos just for you. The next one comes from Claudia Rogajon. The movie is kind of bad adaptation of the comic. Yeah, the movie Constantine with Keanu Reeves. Yeah, I never read the comics. I just, like I said, it felt like a glossy blah movie from the early 2000s. Baby Jupiter says, hey John, what's the best way to get over a breakup? You go to the gym, you start working out, and you just start doing things you like to do in life, and you'll forget about them eventually. And then one day, you'll be on your couch in your underwear, so grateful that you don't have to be there anymore. Like, that obligation is done and over with. I can do whatever I want now. Do you hear that? I'm not afraid anymore. And you kind of feel like Macaulay Culkin in the scene after he realizes his family's disappeared. I made my family disappear, and he starts dancing around, running around, eating ice cream, jumping on the bed. That's the point where it gets really good. So take that how you will. Lift heavy shit and watch a movie. Absolutely. Yeah, that's the best way to get over a breakup. Just lift heavy shit and watch movies, man. Hellraiser 2 is the best one. Okay, that's what I vaguely remember about Hellraiser. All right, guys. I'm gonna answer like one or two more questions, and I'm gonna wrap up this Halloween edition of the FlickPick Live Show. So I want everyone to get their any questions in real quick. I'll try to get as many as I can possibly, and then I'll let you guys go so you guys can go watch Hocus Pocus or Summon the Devil or whatever you guys are gonna do tonight. Claudia Rojan says Constantine is blonde, British, and has a trench coat. Yeah. Do you guys remember, speaking of blonde, do you guys remember the Aaron Eckhart movie, I, Frankenstein, or whatever that bullshit was called? From like the failed 8th attempt from Universal to make the Dark Universe work? What were they thinking with that? What was happening with that? Home gym or actual public gym? I definitely prefer a public gym. I just think there's way more equipment. You can move quicker. You can utilize more stuff. You don't have to sit there and set up everything. You have more space. And if you hate people, just go at the right time of the day. And plus, the great thing about a public gym is you have like a sauna and things like that. I much prefer a public gym. I like the variation and variety of like different workout equipment, and if you had to buy all that for your home gym, you'd need a lot of space and you'd have to spend a lot of money. So I did have a home gym during the pandemic, excuse me, and it was nice, but I much prefer like a public gym. Did you hear Michael Bay will direct Schindler's List sequel from Dustin Rich? That would be the best work. That sounds like a great SNL skit. Schindler's List Part 2, The Revenge, directed by Michael Bay. Oh my God. That's $1 million idea right there. Why has someone not made that? Daryl Harmsey says Matrix 4 or Spider-Man No Way From Home. Probably Spider-Man No Way Home. The new sequel to the Matrix movie did not entice me. I do want to see it, but that sequel did not give me what I wanted at all. I like they could have made something so like epic and like get you on the edge of your seat and you're like, oh shit, can't wait to see what goes down in that. But like what they gave me was like, oh, eh. Someone said chicks working out. Yeah, you do get to see chicks working out at a public gym. Okay, the next one comes from Brooks Shannon. What's your go-to movie to watch for Halloween? We talked about that like throughout most of the live show, but for me, it's always Hocus Pocus, the original Halloween, the first Nightmare on Elm Street. Tonight, I will either watch Scream on 4K, or I might watch like the Texas Chainsaw Massacre remake, or I could watch the Ring remake is pretty terrifying. And someone mentioned Shutter Island earlier, which is like an actual good movie with like an eerie vibe to it. So yeah, either one of those. What's your calorie intake when you were bulking? I used to eat probably like 5 small meals a day and drink like 1 or 2 protein shakes or like a protein smoothie. As far as like my caloric intake, I don't exactly remember the exact number, but I'd eat a lot of grilled chicken, a lot of rice, some veggies, and then I'd eat like one meal where I ate whatever I wanted to. So yeah, it was substantial. I remember that. But I always felt so bloated and tired. When you eat that much, your body's always working overtime to like consume and digest all those nutrients. So you just always kind of feel tired and sluggish. I actually found eating less or like a decent amount of food throughout the day, I actually feel like I have more energy, oddly enough. I've seen American Graffiti once. It wasn't my favorite. I'd much rather watch something like Dazed and Confused. Texas Chainsaw Massacre with Jessica Biel. Yes. I love that movie. That's a good horror film remake. Check it out if you've never seen it. Cannot recommend it enough. Dustin Rich says, remember when women were allowed to be hot in movies? The women are still attractive in movies. Come on. Josh Riviera says, my cat is about to get thrown, John. Yeah, don't try to put a cat in an ATM, Patrick Bateman. Energy comes and goes. It's annoying. That's why you buy energy drinks, and it's always in the palm of your hand, ready to consume anytime. All right, last question. Claudia Rogajon says, ever seen End of Days? It's garbage. Arnold's worse. I remember seeing that movie back on VHS back in the late 90s, 1999, I believe. And I was thinking, what the hell is this piece of shit? Also, there was something weird about the end of the 90s. There was always like religious apocalyptic devil movies being made. Like End of Days. The one with Al Pacino and Keanu Reeves about the what the hell is that called where they're lawyers? The Devil's Advocate? Yeah. There was just like a weird theme about devil movies for a while. And I was like, what's happening here? There's something going on in Hollywood. I don't know. I have seen 1408. I watched it once. It doesn't have a lot of rewatchability for me. Kidney stones along with energy. No. If you only consume caffeine, then it's going to settle in your kidneys and give you kidney stones at one point. You got to drink water, too. There's nothing wrong with caffeine as long as you drink enough water to flush that shit out every day. That's what you have to do. I'd rather you consume me. I will consume all of your souls. But as always, guys, I'm going to wrap up the live show here. Thank you for not getting scared and sticking with me and answering or just hanging out, hopefully eating some candy. And thanks for all the questions and the support, guys, or just watching, whatever. But as always, you guys have a good night. Trick or treat. And happy Halloween, guys. And I will see you guys with another live show in like 3 or 4 more days. But as always, thanks for watching. Have a good night, and have a great Halloween tomorrow. Try not to get abducted and end up in Buffalo Bill's basement. And if you do, well, good luck. Oh, we have one last question. Claudio, you always do this to me. The Devil's Advocate is actually good, though. It's okay. It's an okay movie. It's kind of weird. The best thing about that movie is Al Pacino. Hoo-ha, motherfucker. You want to be the devil? You're going to come here with me, kid. All right, guys. Thanks for watching, and happy Halloween. I'll see you guys next time. Take care. Bye.